Hey guys, Deux Communications. Welcome to my review of Hot Shots Part Deux, which is a film, or Ducks, or is it like Part Deux? I don't really know how. I think it's Part Deux because it's like the X is silent, so I think it's a French word, which is also known as the film is also known as, according to the film's original title, Hot Shots Part Deux: The Exploitation, Taking It to the Bank. And Hot Shots Part Two is one of my favorite spoof comedies. I think it's hilarious. I think it's a huge step up from the first film. The first film, even when I was a kid, I didn't even really find it, that funny. And even, when I got older and I'd seen a lot of movies that the film referenced, I didn't think it was that funny. The second movie I thought was a huge step up from the first film. I thought it was funnier. I thought it was had a better script. I thought it was actually tried to satire things as something that the first film didn't really do much of. I thought it was more engaging. It was just a better movie in my opinion. Hot Shots Part Two is just, I think it's a classic. I think it's a comedy classic. This is the type of, I'd rather watch Hot Shots, Hot Shots Part Two over over the interview, really, because I think this is a lot better. It's a better comedy that deals with a real life dictator, and Americans going after him, because it's a Rambo parody. I mean, the movie opens up with this hilarious parody of Rambo 3, the stick fighting scene. So instead, so you have this one guy, so Topper Harley, Charlie Sheen, who worked his ass, he really worked out, like he worked his ass off to get this physique for the film right, because he worked for 8 hours a day to build up his body, because he decided that he would have felt embarrassed at the film's premiere if he had to sit amongst people laughing while looking at him on screen in a singlet. So he decided he was gonna, this is the best shape Charlie Sheen has ever been in, and he's definitely ripped, and he definitely looks the part of Rambo. And actually, Richard Crenna is also in this, the late great Richard Crenna, and he's really great. It's pretty much playing Trotman. He actually consulted Sylvester Stallone about whether he would be okay if Crenna took a part in a spoof of the Rambo films, and Stallone said he was all for it, which is pretty cool. And so the movie opens up with the stick fighting scene, which I just is fucking hilarious. So So you have the whole thing where the one the Topper's opponent, he's got like glue and on his his bandaged fists. He puts and he's got broken glass and nails and shit on him. And Topper, he gets like a tray full of like caramel and like gummy bears and like candy. So so he's got the bandaged fists with like gummy bears and candy pieces and caramel. The other guy's got like broken glass and nails and shit. And so they get in the fight. And I always remember this because it was pretty badass, but at the same time really funny. So Topper's getting into the stick fight, and he fucks up this guy so bad. He hits him in the ball so hard that his balls fall out of his mouth. This is so hilarious. It just like, boom. There's like and it was like, oh, in the crowd, and Topper's like, yeah. And so that's so badass. I mean, that's the ultimate humiliation in a fight. You hit the guy so hard, his balls fall out of his mouth, like he's Mr. Bucket, balls in my mouth. But I always remember that because it's hilarious. And, it's a great parody of action films and Rambo films in general. So pretty much, it's directed by Jim Abrams, who directed the first Hot Shots. It's written by Jim Abrams and Pat Proft. Pat Proft had nothing to do. I don't think he had anything to do with the first film. It was a different writer. So I think the writing's it's better. Yeah, he actually did write the first film. So he wrote. My bad. Sorry, I was too busy laughing at the whole punching the guy in the balls so hard. his balls fall out of his mouth scene. Uh, so one night, an American Special Forces team invades Saddam Hussein's palace, and Saddam Hussein is played by Jerry Haleva, who played Saddam Hussein in the brief little cameo in the first film. And a nearby prison camp, the rescue the captured soldiers from Operation Desert Storm, and to eliminate Saddam, but they find the Iraqis prepared for them, and their entire rescue team is captured. And the failed operation turns out to be the latest in a series of rescue attempts that were foiled by the Iraqis, and consequently, advisors of President Benson, Admiral Benson in the previous film, played by Lloyd Bridges, suspects the sabotage in their own ranks. And Lloyd Bridges originally wasn't the original choice to play the president. It was actually Marlon Brando, which is an interesting bit of trivia. But I'm glad he comes back because he has some really funny lines of dialogue. I mean, this movie has... I think it's a better written film. It's got funnier lines. It's got more memorable scenes. I mean, the whole stuff where Charlie Sheen is coming around with the machine gun. He's on the boat and the mowing down all these bad guys, and the boat fills up with all these spent shells so much that the boat is sinking. And of course the scene where, he's shooting all these guys and shooting them all down, and the movie's like, body count equal to Total Recall, body count equal to RoboCop, bloodiest movie ever. I love that scene. It's just like, oh, man. So, of course, and then fun lines of like, Saddam Hussein saying like, now we'll kill you until you die from it. And of course, Harbinger, who is a character played by Miguel Ferrer. He's like, war! It's fantastic! So anyway, so what happens is they need to get, somebody to help, rescue these, rescue team, so they end up, so President Benson ends up getting Colonel Denton Walters, played by Richard Crenna, to gain the aid of war hero Topper Harley, played by Charlie Sheen, for the next mission. But Topper's retired from the Navy and has become a Buddhist in a small Thai village, which is definitely a take on Rambo 3. Walters and Michelle Huddleston, played by Brenda Bakke, the CIA, they arrived to try to persuade him to come out of retirement in order to rescue the imprisoned soldiers in the previous rescue parties. Topper initially refuses, but when yet another rescue mission, this one in turn led by Walters, goes awry, he agrees and parachutes into an Iraqi jungle with Harbinger Miguel Ferrer, the sole escapee of a rescue mission shown at the beginning of the film, and whom Topper suspects to be the wanted saboteur. Williams, played by Kolar, and Rabinowitz, played by Ryan Stiles, who is also in Hot Shots. They're close to the heavily guarded hostage camp. Their contact turns out to be Topper's former love, Ramada, played by Valeria Golino, who says that Valeria Golino, who says that this was actually her favorite film that she was a part of, who then guides them to a fishing boat that she prepared for the transportation. She and Topper reminisce, and she explains that she was married before she met him, when she was informed that her husband Dexter, played by Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, was still alive and a prisoner in Iraq. She volunteered to participate in his liberation, but was instructed to keep this strictly confidential, forcing her to break up with Topper as they were ready to start a new life together, which was also the cause for his subsequent retirement. And so, Topper's team then proceeds to the prison camp disguised as a river fisherman, but a confrontation with an Iraqi patrol boat thwarts them. When President Benson hears of the apparent failure of another mission, he takes matters into his own hands, into his own hilarious hands. Topper and his teammates reach the Iraqi hostage camp, and of course, in the course of the operation, alarm is raised and the gunfight ensues, during which Topper finds that the Harbinger is not the saboteur, but has really lost his faith in fighting and manages to motivate him in a hilarious scene. It was just having such a hard time, chilling with losing his, his wanting to fight anymore. And there's even like a fun little reference to Apocalypse Now, and there's actually a little cameo from Martin Sheen, actually, where Topper Harley's narrating while they're, on the river. He's all like, somebody once wrote, hell is the impossibility of reason. Well, that's what this place feels like. Hell. I hate it already, and it's only been a few hours. I'm so tired. We get up at 4 in the morning. And then you have Martin Sheen as this character from Apocalypse Now narrating. First, I thought they handed me the wrong dossier. I couldn't believe they wanted this man dead. Third generation West Point, top of his class, airborne, Korea, about 1,000 decoration, etc., etc. And then the boats pass each other, and Topper's like, "I loved you in Wall Street." You know, Topper Harley. They both pass each other, and then they say, "I love you in Wall Street." uh, and then Ramada, she explains why she came. She's like, "I had to come. It was a sequel." And then there's trying to find the one where and there was pretty funny stuff too, like when Richard Crenna's getting tortured. He's like, "I could see you're no stranger to pain. I've been married. Ah, twice. Ah!" uh, it's like, now we have to go in to get the men who went in to get the men who went in to get the men. That's from Michelle Huddleston in one scene. And President Benson is, Topper Harvey's like, "President Benson, no, you're not. I've seen him on TV. An older man, about my height. Mr. President, this is Topper Harley. Topper Harley, of course. Son I never had. No wonder I didn't recognize you then." And then trying to find the one where Topper's helping the guy, helping, what's his name, get his confidence back. Excuse me, I'm just trying to find. It's like, "Thank you, Topper. I can kill again. You've given me a reason to live." Here it is. It's like, "Harbinger, I was right, wasn't I? You sabotaged all the other missions. I find that totally unacceptable." And he starts crying. He's like, "You got me wrong. I'll just shoot and kill it. I can't go on." Hey, rainy face. Let the sun come out, you bad G.I. Joe. Here, why don't you give Uncle Topper a nice big blow?" And then he blows into Topper's handkerchief. It's like, he's like, "Ugh, I'm done." And then Topper's like, "Attaboy." The handkerchief is like loaded with snot. He drops it and then hands Harbinger a gun, and then he shoots a few Iraqis. "Thank you, Topper. I can kill again. You've given me another reason to live. Head towards the gate, and there'll be plenty of bad guys to shoot along the way." That's one of my favorite scenes in the film. Pretty hilarious. And of course, they're talking about the three bears. Colonel Dutton Walter, he's like, "It seems there were three bears. And one morning when the porridge was too hot, they went for a walk. And a little blonde girl came skimming through the woods. She ate their porridge and she sat in their chairs. She slept in their beds. And when those bears returned and discovered that mess, do you know what happened then, Topper?" "No." "A little blonde girl got scared. Ran away. So what you're saying is that little blonde girl is me? If this is about me coloring my hair." So it's pretty, funny stuff, actually. So anyway, going back to plot here, they have the whole gunfight that happens, where it's the bloodiest movie ever. They have the whole thing where he runs out of arrows, so Topper ends up finding a fucking chicken. It's so stupid, but it is so hilarious. It really is. Just thinking about it cracks me up. It really does. And it was really funny. It really cracks me up, the whole thing. It's the whole thing where it takes the chicken. He picks a chicken up, and that's what you see. It actually does happen in the movie. He picks up a chicken and stretches it out and puts it in the bow and in the bow and arrow. It kills a guy with a chicken. It's so stupid, but it's so hilarious. And so, they have the whole bloodiest movie ever seen, which they're shooting at bad guys with unlimited ammo, with guys who actually have targets on their backs, and so forth. The movie spoofs a lot of stuff. Like it spoofs Predator in a little bit, a T2, and so forth. And so what happens is it's not just a spoof of Rambo; it's a spoof of all kinds of action movies. And so they get through the gunfight, and after the prisoners get free, Topper decides to rescue Dexter, who's been brought to Saddam's palace. When the squad evacuates the hostages, Topper enters Saddam's palace and runs into the dictator himself, pulls out his machine gun, and commands Topper to surrender. I just remember like how they made Saddam look. Like they made it look like he's been wearing a bra and all this kind of absurd shit. And pretty much they made kind of Saddam seem a little bit gay before South Park did. And so what happens? So Topper disarms Saddam and they engage in a sword fight, I thought was pretty funny. And then Tug Benson comes in and he's all like, he throws Saddam a fireplace cleaning tool, which lights up like a lightsaber. And then Saddam Hussein's voice changes. It sounds like Darth Vader. I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet at last. The circle is now complete. Now I am the master. And Tug is like, only a master of evil, Saddam. Your powers are takes a puff of like something to clear his throat. He's like, your powers are weak, old man. You should not have come. We'll settle this the old Navy way. First guy to die loses. So they get in a little bit of a fight. President Benson orders Topper to rescue Dexter, and while Benson and Saddam continue the duel, Benson defeats Saddam by spraying him with a fire extinguisher, upon which his dogs solidify, crack, and melt. Like in T2, only to subsequently combine and reform a Saddam with his dog's head, fur, and nose and ears, which is a hilarious image. And in the meantime, Topper manages to find and liberate Dexter. Topper is forced to carry Dexter out on his shoulder as Iraqis have tied his shoelaces together, however. And it's like played off as it's a really serious thing. And then the squad that heads back to the Army helicopter, where Ramada, after a complicated revelation involving unfounded jealousy, reveals and arrests Michelle as a saboteur who betrayed the previous rescue mission attempts to the Iraqis. Dexter arrives at Topper and insists on taking a picture of him in a Ramada, but backs away too far and topples over a cliff. President Benson then joins the escapees, and the evacuation team lifts off. And Saddam is about to shoot down the chopper when Topper and Ramada get rid of the extra weight in it by pushing a piano at the open door, which crushes it. Which is a hilarious way to go. Topper and Ramada then kisses the ride off into the sunset, although the chopper gets a little scorched from flying through the sun. And then you have more of the, crazy end credits. Like, near the end, the voice announces that Hot Shots Part 2 was filmed in front of a live studio audience. Answer to tonight's scrambled movie title, T2. Fun fact, actor Richard Crenna invented tartar sauce. Cast in the order that you should know their names. Several costume cast members are listed as having the maiden name Rodham, which is a reference to Hillary Clinton. That's her middle name. On the soundtrack list, there's a song called I Got a Lot of Hair for a Bald Guy, and If I Wear It Like This, You Won't Notice, by Michael Bolton. That's still pretty funny. Secret of the Crying Game. She's a guy. Fun fact, baseball superstar Darryl Strawberry spends his winters thinking of new excuses. None's not in this movie. Pamela Thompson, Karen Boom Boom, Prof. Nancy Steen. Pop quiz. Who is the art director? 2. What does Don Milovich do? 3. What character said you yanking my crank? And right at the end, after a line being filmed about being in front of a live audience, there's a line recorded backwards that says his boat has been demolished, which is a reference to, a line in the film. It references a bunch of stuff. It references the first film. It references RoboCop as a movie's equivalent in violence. It mentions Wall Street. It mentions the Geraldo Rivera talk show. It mentions Total Recall, the movie's equivalent in violence. It mentions The Crying Game again. It mentions the WrestleMania TV special, which I thought was pretty funny. And it mentions Now for Something Completely Different. It mentions Predator. And so yeah, it's been featured in a lot of other movies too. Later, after the film even came out. It was another pretty big hit. And more fun lines of dialogue with President Thomas Tug Benson. It's like, here's the target area. That's Minnesota, sir. Damn it, man. That's the genius of my plan. Why go over there to fight? We can do it right here at home and get into some good fishing while we're at it. Sir, the enemy is over there. Then we'll fly them over here. Then we'll fly them over here. Their families, too. We'll teach them to skate. Do I have to think of everything? Is it the same sort of dumb humor I thought worked in this? Because I don't. Maybe it's in relation to the first film, because I thought it was actually, I don't know, the Top Gun parody. I didn't really think there was enough there to really warrant a full film. Here, I thought there was plenty of cannon fodder to do for, and I love the Rambo series, but there was plenty of stuff that they could do to make fun of Rambo, as well as the entire action genre. So that's pretty funny. Now, one of those guys is asking Topper what he's reading. I was like, "What are you reading?" Great Expectations. Isn't it any good? It's not what I'd hoped for. And I even crack up the stuff where Ramada is talking to Topper. Topper, I was so young, just a schoolgirl. He was an older man, so wise in the ways of the world. He used to come around the schoolyard day after day. I so admired his persistence. Even the restraining order my parents slapped on him was no deterrent. He opened my eyes to the arts, music, clog dancing, WrestleMania. His work was meant so much to so many, and I owe him everything, Topper. Everything. I'm very happy for you, kid. But if you think you can hurt me again, you're wrong. I left my heart in my other pants. So this is just, fun lines of dialogue. There's a lot. President Benson, where's your first lady? I don't know. I've had lots of women. Lost my flower at the age of 15. I can't keep track. Cookie? No, thank you, sir. Young lady? No, thank you, sir. No, I was just offering him a young lady. Fun stuff like that. After the Iraqi boat driver fails to kill Topper, he's like, Omar Sharif! Saddam Hussein, it's like, they've dicked with the wrong dictator. Kareem Onion, Al Jarreau. That's pretty racist, but pretty funny, though. Doesn't it? Ramada, I do love you. I've tried to forget you, but no matter what, your face is on the tip of my tongue. Of all the missions and all the jungles, you've had to walk into this one. An emotional address to the state capital Nebraska governor, Paul Burmeister made a public apology for his state being so flat. And I always remember this one where Topper's talking with Ramada. It's like, Ramada, I want to be with you. I want to hold you. I want to meet your parents and pet your dog. And Ramada's like, my parents are dead, Topper. My dog ate them. Dude, that's just so absurd. And he does it with such a straight face, and it always makes me laugh, really. My parents are dead, Topper. My dog ate them. and then Dexter dies, and then Topper's like, he really was a wiener. Do you know what it's like to have your heart shot out of season and tied to the top of a car? How it feels to be passed like the world's largest kidney stone? Ramada, I don't think so. We both know you belong with Dexter. You're part of his work, thing that keeps him going. I'm no good at being noble, but do you have any idea what would happen if you stay here with me? Of course I do. Sex. Wild, free, passionate, unbridled sex. I would fondle you in ways you can't imagine. I would pleasure you at any time, in any place, in any way, for as long as you could possibly desire. And then I love Charlie Sheen's look on his face. It's pretty funny, because it's just like, oh, okay, that sounds better. It's like, Topper's like, you're the only one who knows how to get the helicopter pad. If I'm not there in 15 minutes, you know what to do. Yeah. This is, Richard Crenna. Yeah, we'll get the hell out of here. No! Wait another 15 minutes! Rabinowitz, I like this line. I think that's Stiles, Ryan Stiles. You know what I'm going to do if we make it? I'm going to go back to Eagle River and marry my gal, Edith May. Gonna get us a nice little place with a white picket fence. You know the kind? 2-car garage. Maybe a fishing boat. And in 15 years, when they're all paid for, I'll set my charges and blow the shit out of it. And I always remember that, President Tug Benson's narrating is like, so we were off. Just two questions were going through my head. Will we make it in time? Questions were going through my head. Will we make it in time? It's like, why did I bring helium instead of air? So stupid. Oh, that's funny. Remember when she's like reaching over the picket fence? It's like, it's locked from the inside. One's just like, we're gonna die. And then Colonel Denton Walters grabs him by his shirt. He's like, get a hold of yourself, man. Blow it. It's not our property. Of course, that's what the kickboxer opponent has after he gets kneed in the crotch. It's like, you win. And that's perfect. I mean, that sums up Hot Shots Part 2, really. Hot Shots Part 2. You win. It's a great comedy. Really enjoy that movie. I really enjoy this movie. You win, Hot Shots Part 2. But anyway, I really don't know what to say about the film except it's a rate out of 5 stars. I would give it. I don't find anything wrong with Hot Shots Part 2. I love this comedy. 5 out of 5. I think it's a huge improvement over the first film. It's one of my personal favorite spoof comedies. I've always enjoyed it ever since a young age, and I still enjoy it to this day. I just find it to be hilarious, fast-paced, witty, really fun movie. I would probably say one of my favorites, if not my favorite Charlie Sheen film. I'd have to think about it a little bit more about Charlie Sheen. I mean, there's other movies I like that he did, like The Arrival and so forth, and I have fun with films like The Chase that he did. But I really, really enjoy Hot Shots Part 2. I think it's a great spoof of action movies and a great spoof of the Rambo trilogy. And it's just a really, really fun movie. If not a little bit underrated when it comes to comedies. I think it's one of the best sequels out there, and I think it's one of the better comedies in the 1990s. But anyway, I really don't know what to say about the film, except thank you for watching my review, and I will see you guys later. See ya.